Bill is over south in Fairfield Center.
That's right.
Bill Mays.
Yeah, I think they put some. I can't remember his name. He did my place too. Yeah, he used that. Yeah.
Free. I had, we did our possibility with it. That was some other sealed everything.
Oh yeah, construction values.
Yeah.
Close up. Yeah, close up.
They spray rated the wall and then they
cut it off. Yeah, that might as well like that. That's some of you.
You can do the whole building. Ceilings every day now. Yeah, all walls.
So you did some
We
distance.
spent once. Yep.
You must be having a lot of those places.
Whatever you're doing, the rest of the.
They used to go now they the way things are. Spend the money up front. They
Do it right, absolutely.
I get it from
I had a
basically.
couple people say, well, they'll break the wall, so say you won't be able to close the door. Not too overhead walls.
No, you open the door.
So it's too bad.
But it runs.
With overhead doors, even brand new ones, they're not.
Make that wind pushing on that north side.
Doors are good change and utilities.
Right, that doors,
Electric.
push them away from the ceiling outside. It should be adjusted in because you had that crack, it's from that big of a wall.
Right.
See, my doors are facing east. So. They had a cupola on my sandwich here.
Oh,
You can't see it as easy as yours, but you don't have the distance.
right, you get to see it. I gotta check my hands, routine job, supposed to fix it.
So the way we did our roof got on. So metal thin sheet, roof is all done. This is it. And it's flashed to the size of it, but the bottom isn't. So any more she gets inside, it just will move along.
Right. Think of the hole in my roof. But I get access to the light up there.
Well, I'm not having light. I'll just put a few conduit down so we can tell the temple is asking you access to fill. No, we're hell on. I said, but I said, I'm with an LED, so I said, why don't you put that, try to think about the bread?
Put it on the timer.
Yeah.
The light, that's going off in the car.
We don't have it all over, it's just big.
It's just a big one, yeah, it's just a regular. Yeah. Probably actually working fast.
Yeah.
The smaller ones.
I'm gonna put two good sized gable vents in on the yellow.
Honestly, it's really trying bigger, but I think they probably could be a little bit different. Cheap, because the sizes that they're supposed to be. They should take that back up. But things that we treated the small ones for copper, and we do the bigger ones. Whatever they call it, like green.
Yeah.
Now when the rough ends out, it's kind of steep for copper. We had a shit hole cut there, so
Okay.
blew off.
See, I didn't put one on. I looked at the one guy once, I didn't find anything that really caught my eye.
Well, we have a Canadian Goose now. She wanted to get a reinforcement for it back up there. I said, we'll do that, we'll drop takes off with wood. Sit in the garage. But they're supposed to stand like 140 mile an hour wind, that thing didn't last 6 months.
That's lots off. I guess we'll start the meeting. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've got two sets of past minutes. Monday, June 12th. Do that one first.
I make a motion that we accept those minutes as written.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion?
So I wasn't here, so I'm not gonna vote on that.
All those in favor? Aye. And we'll do the same for the July 10th meeting.
I make a motion that that meeting also be
I'll
accepted.
second those.
Okay. Any discussion on that one? If not, all those in favor? No public hearing, no old business, new business. Site plan reapplication of Snake Root Solar LLC development. Explain to everybody what we're doing again.
Sure. So solar farm over on Snake Root Road, we did start construction in 2022 under an amendment to the original site plan, which was in 2021. Due to ISO New England and CMP interconnect concerns, we have been delayed with the continuation of that construction. We're looking for the approval in the fall, we're hoping for soon. And then we will start construction again in the spring of 24. So we're looking to extend into 2025 just to assure construction will be complete.
Everybody understand what's going on? We've done this before on other ones. Any questions?
There's no changes, right?
No changes, yes, no changes. There's some construction already in place, access road, some of the racking.
Noticed the office trailer was pulled out, right? Go to another job. Anybody have any discussion, questions? Okay, so, essentially, Catherine, the 6A and B, can we vote on those together, or they have to be separate?
Let's vote on those separate.
Okay. So do I have a motion on site plan reapplication for Snake Root Solar?
I make a motion that we approve that site plan.
Second.
I'll second it.
And Corey, you got to abstain, just
Sure.
just because of,
Yep.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And we'll go to new business 6B, conditional use on Snake Root Solar. Basically just what you said, nothing else different. Any discussion on that one?
I make a motion that we approve that as well.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, I don't know, do we need 5 to have a quorum? Or 4 now?
We're supposed to have 5.
Okay.
I don't see any pecuniary interest for Corey, so he could vote.
Okay. So you're in the affirmative for both those, Corey?
Yep.
So I guess that can be amended. I thought about that as I was looking over the counting. I guess we're all set with trigger over tonight.
Is that a year extension or?
Yes. So,
Yeah. Is it possible to go until 2025?
so the,
You can have 2, pursuant to the ordinance, which we may want to amend at some point, you can have 2 6-month periods. So we would approve a year for you. That's all we can approve. If we run into an issue, we've talked with the applicants and they've made some small change. There's always something that's changed, and you just call it a new application.
if they've started, I guess I want to be clear on this. Does the project have to be finished in that period of time, or if they've started it?
It has to be substantially complete, so nearly complete.
Okay. So possibly,
Possibly.
if it's, well under construction, and, probably might not have to,
You may be fine.
we
If
might apply at
not,
that point.
yeah, if not, we can figure out a way to extend it.
We don't foresee any issue with just legal paperwork.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. So we're all set on that. I guess we'll go to new business number 7, discussion items. Update on subdivision proposal off Route 2. by Tim Ames. Anything?
Oh, yeah, well, back when I came before, I was trying to feel out the whole situation, looking for things. Catherine sent me all the stuff, and I've just been overwhelmed this summer with people wanting to buy houses for some reason. So I haven't had a lot of time. So I did get my map out and I brought it over, and I guess you guys have, but that's about it. I do have my road opening permit. I've started a road up across. I met with CMP and I met with New Gen, and I'm getting ready to do something there. But
That'll be overhead wires?
Yeah.
That's the gravel started being put in
right,
Right.
yeah, building a path up through there.
in between the rain.
Yeah, that's part of it. In between the rain and everything else I got going. So if there's any questions, I'll hopefully have my act a little bit better for the next meeting.
But so far, everything you've needed from the town has been okay.
Oh yeah, no issues at all. Everybody's been great. I just haven't had the time to do what I need to do.
Does anybody on the board have any questions?
Well, let me understand, so you're already starting to build the road
You already started? Yeah.
Yeah.
without an approval?
Why do I need an approval to build the road?
Well, maybe I guess that's,
He doesn't.
but
Well,
is it,
it could be a change of use type of thing as well, build the road.
you know,
What do you mean?
The road's just going in. Just
I mean, I guess that's your,
Right.
I guess I would say that that's your risk in the sense of putting that road in and,
True.
you know, in the sense of how everything comes together with a subdivision application and come before us for approval, so I guess you're right there, Mr. Ames. I'm not gonna dispute that.
The road started in the spring when everything else was posted, and I had an opportunity to start, and I had my road opening permit from the town, from the state, and because it was a field access before, it was being accessed differently, so we just made it better. And I need to eliminate the driveway on where the double wide is now. That will be eliminated when the new road goes in. That in theory, that road opening permit makes the driveway for them. Once that's available, then the one at the road needs to be eliminated. So it's really a driveway at this point.
Do you own that first lot?
I sold it first of all.
'Cause I noticed there's a sign on that now.
I noticed that on the way over, and I looked it up while I was sitting in the parking lot. That's a pretty good price for that baby.
I didn't look it up, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised. I don't know what they travel. They go to Florida in the winter and stuff here in the summer, so I don't know why they.
Any other questions? Yes, Ken?
So I was going to ask Mr. Ames, the subdivision ordinance is rather complex. As you can see, I tried to help you by putting in blanks like we did for the site plan ordinance, which has worked out well for people, but it's very, very long. Do you have an engineer you can help with, or somebody that can help you?
Yes,
Okay.
I am an engineer.
Okay.
Part of it, I have a surveyor, and I have a close relationship with A.E. Hodgson. So
Okay, well, that's good. They've done subdivision applications for different towns, so that's
Yeah.
good. And if you have any questions on Clamor from KB Cog, Julie Greenwood is available.
right.
I have a question, Tom.
Yes.
LD 2003 guidance, I was just looking at that, and it says that generally residential area, new dwellings only up to 4. And I don't know why that would be, or maybe I'm misunderstanding what it's saying.
I think we're going to have to work our way through the new LD 2003 that has just passed with the deadline of January 1st to see how this all applies. if it was as it says, nobody could have a subdivision over 4 units, and
Right.
that doesn't make any sense.
No, this wouldn't affect the subdivision like that where there's separate lots created. That's talking about putting 4 structures on one lot.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what I thought, but then if you look at the drawings that they have, they really, it seems to me that
It's a bit confusing.
yeah.
Yeah, most of what I saw was trying to put multiple units on, standard size lots.
Well, that
Right,
is there as
that was
well.
a big part of it, yes. But it is quite, confusing and,
Yeah.
you read something and you go pages over and then you go back and it almost doesn't make sense.
Well, I
what you're
think,
already
yeah, they do talk about both
doing. Right.
both things in the same LD. But I just did, just thought I'd ask about it. I hate to see anybody get in trouble and,
But I don't expect this is your first go-around with subdivision.
No? I just haven't had time, that's all.
Right.
And he's fine to build the road as long as he has the opening permit from the main DOT, and it's not going to be accepted by the town. It won't be a town
Right.
road, so then we don't have to come out and keep inspecting it.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause I think you said it was going to be a housing or an association, something like that.
Yes.
Any other discussion, question?
So we'll see you next month, or maybe not?
Hopefully.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I'm in no real particular rush because I have so much to do that it won't matter. So,
There's too much money coming in, you don't have time to play with this. All right.
I wish that was the case. Thank you.
Yep, I do.
Thank you.
And we'll go to item 7B, update on rezoning considerations. You want to think?
So I haven't heard anything from anyone, but we do have one of the interested parties in the audience.
That's why we're here. We haven't heard from him either. I was hoping you had.
No, because we, at the last planning board meeting and before, the planning board really needs to have the request for rezoning to come from the owner of the property.
Which is not him, as we were told.
Right,
It's-
they're
Okay.
the interested parties.
Okay. So I will have that to you before next month's meeting, somehow.
So you plan on still going in that lot?
Would like to, yes. Yeah. That's an ideal location for what we want to do, as long as everybody agrees. And as far as our hours of operation, yeah, we run tow trucks 24 hours, but the shop's only open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, so we haul into everybody's shop, odd hours, but we're not going to be in ours other than normal business hours, so we shouldn't disturb anybody.
The only issue is possibly there where, it is surrounded by residential zoning,
Yeah.
which, the other one that we've had, that's been considered at the same time, it's right on the edge, so
Yeah.
it basically makes it a little, potentially,
Theirs is easier.
Easier.
Yeah, theirs is
Cleaner,
easier,
don't they?
absolutely. Ours is kind of like drop right in the middle, so to speak.
but we haven't been able to find details yet on that.
See, it's an excellent location for them. We'd love to have you in town. It's going to be a challenge.
Absolutely,
Because of
but
the
we're up for it.
residential.
We're up for it.
Well, I didn't hear what you said before. So Adam Prime owns the big parcel, but not.
I believe he actually does not own either of them. I believe he runs the company that owns them, which would be his mother's.
Is it the trust?
Yeah. I believe that's how this works, but I have a hard time getting hold of Adam's name. I messaged him earlier today and asked if he was going to make a meeting tonight, thinking, because last time we spoke, he was going to get those papers signed that he needed and get them to you guys before the meeting. And he was supposed to have called you, Catherine, and talked to you. Whether he did or not, I don't know. I never heard back. And that was 2 weeks ago. So he's going to be our biggest fight, I think. Getting him to to slow down for a minute to get this done. I
It
think
may be that Susan has to sign the paperwork. Adam is the front person, the one that runs around with this.
Yes, yeah, he's the one that does all the running. She actually owns everything, is what I'm gathering now. So I misunderstood when we started, and that's why I've been mentioning him, because he approached me with the idea. I said, that's great, let's do it. So,
If that doesn't work out, possibly Catherine or someone else in town could possibly help in another location. I don't think we're not trying to,
if there's another location,
we're not trying to put our business out by any means. It just, being in that residential area could be more of a,
yeah, if there was something else in town, I mean, we consider that as well. We need a place to go.
Right.
And this town has been wonderful to us. We'd like to give back, and we do a ton of work for the police department. We do some work on the police department cruisers, and it's been a great working relationship. I'd love to keep it going.
We have been looking around. The trucking facility in the industrial park has been sold, and we now have plans for that.
Laying there, yeah. We called on that building 1 week after it was potentially sold. So that was going to become big plans and big money. We wanted to put a truck stop in there, so to speak, minus the fuel pumps, because everyone's has fuel. We could have done a restaurant and repair shop and sales, and maybe tucked it all in that one industrial corner, and it would have been pretty simple and pretty complete. And the access to the highway would have been
right.
unimaginable,
Right.
Yeah, that's, for towing service, highway access is,
It's key. It's key. Right now, we own 66 acres in Plymouth, and that's where we're kind of running out of now. But it's family land. It's 4 miles each way to the highway, which isn't horrible. To the 167 exit or the 161, it's about 4 miles either way. So it's not horrible, but boy, that would have been key. And even what we're talking about is so much closer.
And I really don't want to.
Look out and see all that. They call us all hours of the night. We don't want them knocking on our door at the house.
Well, we'll look for your application. That application.
I'm going to go wind up the clock and see what I can do with it. Good luck. Thank you. I think I'm going to need that one.
If I have to, I'll go knock on her door. I don't care.
I'll try to keep in mind, keep my eyes open for other potential possibilities. So just
It would have to be a fairly large lot, because we do want to get into some heavy truck repair as well.
right.
That one is, there again, that one would work, but it's kind of tight. You put a 100-foot building on that lot and then try to park trucks on the end of it, you're going to be squeezing through to get into the shop. It'll fit, but it's tight.
So are you set up to handle heavy trucks right now?
Yeah. Not as far as repairs.
Right.
But we are towing them. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another phenomenal thing that we did. When I bought the first truck, we have two now. When I bought the first one last year, I expected to use it 2 or 3 times a month. We're using it 3 or 4 times a week. It's all in how you treat people.
Anybody else have anything? Interest? No? Okay, I guess you know where we are and
We do.
what needs
We'll
to be
try
done.
again.
Yeah, okay.
Appreciate your time tonight, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go back to that.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll do discussion 7C, LD, paper says 2023.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2000.
Yeah, 2003.
So I got a question on what Mr. Ames, one guy I wrote, and he probably doesn't have every right to put that in. When I was building my shop, I had to get a change of use to stop out gravel on the site. I'd come to the planning board and get a change of use.
And
I
I don't know why, because
I don't either, but I had to go through this drill.
What'd you have to do, Brent?
I had to get a change of use. Steve made me come in and get a change of use to stop out gravel on that site, to build a shop with.
I can see it for the shop, but just.
Steve Seacon.
Steve Seekins, I had to.
Steve had
Because I didn't ask before I did it, because I was doing another job and had gravel, and I stopped on the site so I could build my shop. And he made me get a change of use. And that's why when I heard this, is that a change? Yeah, I have no problem putting a driveway down across his lot, that's not a big deal, but, is that a change of use?
Not until.
You're
not really does something.
I know. I just,
Steve was always overly cautious.
Well, and Mark's brought up a good point over the, a few meetings. These standards that we're supposed to be keeping on site plans and stuff like that, a lot of detail is missing on these things. And I know what I had to go through and don't spend money on. So either we do it or we don't do it, right?
Well, I agree. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's going to come down to town administration enforcing this out there. If he ends up running electrical, I guess.
Right. I'm just talking in general on a lot of these site plans that we see or don't see.
I know. I agree. Some of the stuff we've seen have been those scribbles on paper.
Right.
It's not an engineer.
I mean, it says right in the site plan review, certain things that have to be there, finished floor elevations and stuff, and none of that, a lot of stuff's been missing,
Even sketches.
The sketches is right. So I just, you have the standard, and you gotta keep the standard,
But as far as the road, do we know if he's been talking to Al Tempesta and Al said it was okay to build the road? Or?
He has talked to Al Tempesta. I don't know if they talked about the road. If he's just going to put in a basic road and nothing else is going in there, I don't see an issue. It's if you're going to build a pad for something that's going to be a different use, like residential to commercial, I see why you have to have a site plan or something beforehand. But if he's just going to rough in a road, I don't see that as an issue. It's his risk.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Essentially, the only thing he's required, I can see, is to have an entrance permit off the state road. Beyond that, he could put a 10-foot road or a 100-foot wide road. It's his piece of property. Just putting a road in there doesn't mean that anything else is going to happen. I know he's putting it in because that's what he's planning on doing. So I don't know. You didn't have to get an entrance permit.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well, there was already an entrance there, though.
No, but it's in a different location.
Oh, okay.
No, you can definitely have to.
I knew there was an entrance into that field.
Yeah, I think there was one there. We just improved it. Yeah.
I can look that up, but I believe it was to change from, it was empty, so it was like residential, and then you were going to put your
But the commercial is
pad
zoned
your
for commercial traffic.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
commercial
residential.
corridor. Yeah, commercial corridor. But I think it's because the pad was going in, but it may have been a little overkill there.
It's no big deal. I mean, not being embraced it. I just had to come in and everybody look at it.
Well, I think the real discussion here is just, in the sense of us looking as a board, and I know that we've looked at things. I haven't been technically saying this is what needs to happen under this section or this section, because the board is pretty much, I've just gone with the majority of the board in the sense of approving things. But I think that, we do need to look at things technically if there are, like this gentleman here coming with this over here and once he gets over the zoning change, if that does happen, he's going to come back with a site plan, and there are going to be issues there that we should be really looking at, I think, in the sense of entrancing, drainage, lighting, all those things that really should be technically looked at. Maybe, and for my experience so far being on the board, maybe we do have to look at it at another level than we have been. I mean, I agree that we want to be proactive in the sense of getting businesses here. I totally agree with that. But still, there's got to be a standard, a level of that standard that
you're an engineer, Mark, and so it's not like you're trying to hurt them. You're trying to make sure they're doing it right.
Yeah,
that's absolutely.
Your situation, we've discussed that, and I understand.
It's just the standard. Either just we do it or we don't do it.
Technically, with his, that building there, if they come before us for a zoning change, are we supposed to have blankers on for just a zoning change, or if we know what's coming, is there? I'm trying to help.
Well, I think yes. That's how I would look at it.
Well,
he's putting an application in for a zoning.
Well, he wouldn't be. It's the landowner,
right? The owner, exactly.
In theory. The landowner could put the zoning change in, and that could go through. And then
then
when he puts his plan before us, that could possibly fail.
Yeah.
Not from, for whatever reason.
You consider a zoning change as if you don't know what might potentially go there.
Right.
Right.
They've got to make the case on their request for the zoning change, whoever they're going to make it,
For what?
without like us knowing that potentially they could be going there, unless they bring that up to the
Because,
project.
so if the landowner
Yeah,
wants the zoning change to commercial, you have this wide variance or what type of businesses could go in there.
Well, you're restricted by the number of the size of the lot,
Right.
in the sense of being able to meet all the setbacks, meet the requirement of traffic.
But
If there is a level of, that we feel is a level of extra traffic there because of this trucking, I don't.
but if it's going into a commercial lot, technically, it could be a used car dealership, a new car dealership, all kinds of different things potentially. But
yeah, because you got to think into the future. If someone could operate something off it now, but then 10 years down the line, if it's
Right.
commercial, they could put anything else in there.
correct.
So you got to bear that in mind.
So
And it's still probably carrying cost development as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
well, if it's change of use, it would have to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be, I agree with that.
If
You're talking heavy commercial trucks coming down the hill with engine brakes. Right there.
well, they have that there already. But not
Not to that extent,
Right.
And I've seen those trucks.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So
You
that's up
have to
to-
have the public hearing for the rezoning with the 2 advertisements, but that's just one public hearing at the planning board level. It then goes to the council and goes through the same process. And then let's say it passes, when the site plan review application comes in, that's going to have a public hearing too.
So it is.
Oh, so the zoning change will go to the
It
town
has to
council?
go to the
Yes,
town
yes.
council.
Zoning change isn't a small thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But that's what, we've gone over a few of these in the past where zoning changes up on Somerset Ave coming in, there was some discussion about changing it from commercial, those few interested parties changing it from commercial back to residential, and I brought up at the meeting at the time that if you open it up to change, that thing, it might not go the way you're thinking. We could potentially, I brought up that all Somerset Ave could potentially be brought up to commercial, all the way to Main Street. And, I wasn't suggesting that, but I just telling the person that if you open this up to change, if there's enough people that wanted to go one way, it might not be the way you wanted, so think about that before you, proceed with that. But, anyways, I guess we'll go back to LD 2003.
Well, just while we're still on that, out of curiosity, where are we with the gym over in the industrial park? Did they drop it, or they just?
I haven't heard anything back. But I did find, looking through the records, we wondered about one of the other parcels of property, and it was hard to track it back, but the gentleman had combined the 2 lots, but another lot had been combined too, the one closer.
Oh,
to
so
the
one
road,
had that little
19
garage or something.
19-1.
So technically he owns, so,
And then past that is Mr. Mendez's
Right.
large property, which is 3 lots that were put together. And then you get down to the road where the little garage is. So if you did do rezoning, you'd probably go down from the gentleman that requested it,
Right.
the others requested it, and hit them too. Mr. Mendez wanted to rezone his property, but when he acquired it after the fire, he had to, in the legal actions and everything, he couldn't list it with the town, he couldn't change it to commercial, he had some restrictions on him, but that 10-year period is over with now. So it could become commercial if there was interest. So you could have a line going down
Right.
to the property along the little garage. But I haven't heard anything.
right, so, I was curious if they would be interested in pursuing that commercial also. I don't know if that would, it makes the property potentially more valuable, saleable if they're looking, I don't know if they're looking to do anything.
As part of this overall study, that might be something that we want to look at on the other items beyond just changing our zoning to match up with LD 2003. there's other areas that can be looked at too. Like the comp plan can be looked at, where housing should be, infrastructure needs. So there's quite a bit to it. I'm not an expert on this. I've read it several times. It was a bit confusing, as Simone and the chair has indicated, but there are certain items that we would have to change in our ordinance to assist with densities so that we can have more affordable housing and more housing. And in some of our districts, the lots are small and the setbacks are small, so we may meet the requirements already. There's an opportunity to acquire funds from the state. Each town that has zoning and has either a central sewer system or a central water system or growth areas can apply for $10,000. You send in a template invoice and we'll get $10,000 that we can use to hire KBCOG or another entity to assist us with the review, which is to meet the requirements of LD 2003 with the densities and to look at some other areas that would be of interest to the board. You know, like where should housing be encouraged under our ordinance? Where should infrastructure go in? The comp plan update is something that we could talk about, but $10,000 isn't a good return on that. So you pick up some things. Mapping was an item that was listed. So there's different areas that you can look at. And you can see there's an affordable housing density bonus that's in here that would be reviewed. That's on page 5. And there's a whole variety of handouts here that we'll all need to read that talks about what needs to be done.
Have to read.
And as we discussed earlier, the questions and answers on residential areas generally up to 4 dwelling units, which is on one property, under page 10. So I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that this is coming up. There's a due date of January 1st, 2024. We just got the information. We'll apply for the $10,000, and then KBCOG, Joel can talk about the grant, basically, that they're applying for.
Yeah, I mean, we can like just look at the ordinance and say what we need to change in the very most simple sense to be like in compliance with the new law. That should be relatively simple. Like you say, just making sure that it allows the multiple units, based on the definitions that they have in the correct residential districts. But outside of that, we'll plan somebody just to have towns look at, regardless of the money that you guys get. So that won't cost the town anything to look at. Things like looking at the zoning and saying, well, do you want to look at revising your zoning where you're going to look to place housing where your commercial areas are? So that's something that we can maybe look at on a larger scale, not just when we get the 2 specific requests. We might be able to just look at where the zones are now and where we might want to think about if there's any changes needed to them, and places where we're going to want to encourage certain areas of housing, places where we want to discourage commercial, industrial. So it's just the opportunity to really look at wholesale vision of the town zoning, I think. And planning board's probably the one that probably needs to take the lead on this. So
I would imagine KBCOG is going to be doing this for a number of towns.
yes, you're going to be very busy.
There's probably numerous towns that are in a similar size scope as Pittsfield with down to water and sewer and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the long and short of it is my understanding is that it's trying to create additional density in existing residential areas. So it's now allowed up to like 4 units on one lot,
Right.
or additional dwelling units like accessory apartments, either attached or detached from an existing single-family house. So it's just saying that you can have more housing on one lot without having to, so you're changing the regulations so that that's allowed, where previously it might not. you would have to have a much larger lot to allow that to happen.
So this, I don't remember if I started it. So if you just going to allow them to change setbacks and things of that sort.
The setbacks, I think you can still allow a certain amount of setbacks. I think it's just, we're just talking, usually the most important thing is the overall size of the lot that you require. So say it's like 20,000 square feet, and if you wanted to have, traditionally if you wanted to have more dwellings on that lot, you would have to be, like double the size.
Right.
But now they're like kind of condensing that so that you can fit like 4 within. I think it goes up to 30,000. So you do have to increase the lot somewhat to get more on, but it's obviously condensing that, so you don't have to almost like double the size of your lot to get units, that amount of units on the same lot.
So what if you tore an existing structure down, in some of these bigger homes, older homes? And you put a small home on that with offsets, would the offsets be?
I think so, yeah, as I understand it.
That's what I would foresee more than anything else.
Yeah,
in
I
town
think
is, right?
you read it all like that.
Multiple small ones.
Well, no, I've just been able to put a small one on and not have, because right now you'd have a tough time meeting some of the setbacks. Right. I would envision some of these houses coming down at some point, right, and putting small homes on them possibly.
So you're saying, in that scenario, correct me if I need to be, so the house is, say, 10,000 square feet, tear that old house down, and put 4 small homes on that lot,
just a small
setback?
Just a small, whatever.
Because one of the houses
One dwelling or 4 dwellings?
One dwelling.
There's still one dwelling?
On one lot.
But a smaller structure. Because, a lot of these houses are grandfathered in for setbacks.
Yeah. Because of the old style, the old
So-
small lots. Yeah.
So, for instance, that house across the street from me, for instance, if that were torn down, because that's not a huge lot,
Right.
a small
Put a
house.
small
could be
home in there,
put
but I
on.
think that right now, with the setbacks, you can't,
Yeah,
right? I think that
Yeah.
sounds, we've talked about this before, I think, over the last, few years.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what I would see happening,
Yeah.
right? Because there's not a lot of subdivisions coming on,
right,
And you
right.
can only renovate these big older homes so many times. Families are smaller now.
Oh, that house is way beyond renovation.
Well, there's a bunch of them, small middle like
Yeah,
that
that,
around.
like I told people for years, you can do whatever you want to an old house, but it's still an old
It's still
house.
an old
Well, and after the big hole in the
Right.
roof with all the water leaking in there for so many months, I'm sure it's,
I mean, but 50 years from now, what's it going to look like? Still going to have all these older homes in town,
Yeah.
or are we going to start going,
right,
more efficient, smaller?
yeah.
So we don't have other set up for.
We're not set up for small,
For setbacks.
well,
I don't know.
I know we've had discussions in the past about these small houses, tiny homes and stuff like that, which we weren't all set up for, but there's a lot of places they're pushing that pretty hard right now.
But see, I get this, so if you go to the second page there, where underneath it says, where's this, four numbers, and it says, LD 2003 has the following sections that are relevant to municipality government. And I read the first 2 of those, and it sounds to me like it talks about being allowed to put more density of buildings in these lots than they were previous done.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they're trying
That's
to
that's pretty much the whole.
So I guess my question then is to this board is that, do we want that to happen? Do we want more houses to be put into a small lot?
I guess if you had an acre lot to start with, it's okay, but if you have a quarter acre, then no, probably.
Well, it really comes down to, doesn't matter what we want, if the state's passing it, we have to follow that, right? But,
Just going to bring the ordinance into
compliance.
compliance that allows that. You still are allowed your single family home dimensional requirements. So actually, I think if you just put in one home in there, then the single family home requirements are going to stay the same.
Right.
It's when you want to put multiple ones on that you get the relaxation of the density requirements.
Okay, so actually, say we have a lot that's twice the size you need, you're having for a regular house. You have a house and the lot is twice as big as you need.
Yeah,
So, with this here, they're gonna allow you to put, where you have plenty of room, more than one house on, or a building that will house up to
Well, it's
four.
gonna be a dwelling, so you'll be able to have four different families living in this house possibility. On that lot.
Multiple unit.
I mean, do we want that to happen?
Well, we already have it some, but, this is just gonna make it easier.
And what else comes with that extra density, does your infrastructure handle it? Water, sewer.
Well, I guess that's.
Right, how does that get taken care of?
I mean, so let me ask, so to you guys up there, I mean, do we have to accept this? Does the town have to accept this? It has to.
Yeah, it has to make the changes to come into compliance.
So if you increase density, what about everything else that follows along with it?
Well, that's what there's part of it is looking into the assessment of infrastructure to make sure that, bear in mind that you can still, this is only in residential zones, so the town can still control where its residential zones are, and so where it is applicable to have this higher density residential areas. So there's that. All of it's pretty much on town sewer and water now anyway.
So expand on that. So if you're saying that, if say down there by Hancock Lumber, across where those storage sheds are now, just hypothetically, all of a sudden someone says, I'm going to buy that and I'm going to change that into a residential place, and I'm going to take and densify that to the level that I can densify that by putting houses down there. And all of a sudden, they come with a proposal to put 50 dwellings down there on that lot. Is that kind
I think it's capped at 4.
Say again?
It'd only be allowed to go to 4.
Right.
Maximum of 4 to go on one lot.
On one lot.
Okay.
And it doesn't actually mean 4 dwellings, like a 4-unit dwelling. It's like an apartment,
Multi-family.
So this, I guess I didn't read into it enough. So this isn't just about having 4 different houses.
No.
Right.
No, you can have separated living units on one structure.
I think that's what they're leaning towards more than separate dwellings, is one dwelling.
Okay.
with
I
multiple
was
units.
reading that as being separate dwellings.
If the room is there, you can do that, but I think they're really pushing for multiple family dwellings.
It would be too costly probably for
Right.
somebody to build 4 little houses. They would probably put them together.
Right.
All right. Good. Thank you.
There are some multi-unit dwellings in Pittsfield, probably, most of them are probably 2-unit dwellings.
Yes.
There's probably some other ones besides that, but most of what you see are older houses that were
Big ones
big ones converted.
Yes. There's quite a few.
But, this is all.
Maybe that's what I should do. Is supposed to tear my house down over my lot. I got an acre and a half there. Put a nice little small driveway out the middle of it.
Village.
Huh?
Could have a little village.
Yeah, I have my own little village right there, through there.
This is all stemming from the overpopulation of
Oh yeah.
people then coming into the state one way or the other, and they want for 10 years we've been telling them all to come in. Now they're saying, what are we going to do with them all? So,
I'm sure that the big cities might be pushing back on it a little bit, but
they're realizing that
Wow.
they didn't think it
because
all.
the infrastructure has to be able to handle it.
What were they thinking?
I don't know.
I know, on one hand, they think that we are trying to help people out, which isn't a problem, but, that's only part of it. There's a lot more encompasses the whole situation, and they're finding that out now.
But we're still bringing them in by bus loads, plane loads.
Any other discussion on this?
We have a broken world, that's for sure.
So we'll all read this over. I'll submit the invoice for the $10,000 and we'll put together a little action plan. and
We have a plan we have to sign
You
here
have a plan to
for
sign?
Jim before it
And a
releases.
large one too that Jim wrote on.
Okay.
What is this one?
That's for what we just did with Jim Roll.
Oh, okay, yes.
Solar.
Yeah,
And they have a small 11 by 17 that we
Yeah.
filed at the registry. And then for the letter, you need to come in. I will get my notary public to make it easier for everyone.
Oh,
I
you're,
just gotta get a chance to do it.
Not a problem.
I'll make
a motion that we adjourn.
I got a question first, though. I just-
Okay.
When the town acquires a property for tax liens, and then you auction it and sell it, are there any stipulations on when something has to be finished or completed or cleaned up, or?
Yes and no. There's a plan that's submitted by the bidders, and then they're supposed to follow it. And until 2 years ago, everybody followed their plan and everything was done. And now we have, some people have followed them, some have not. Maybe there's 5 properties, 2 did not, 2 did, and 1, nothing has happened to. So the properties that are sold are the ones that the people don't claim back. They have the first right to redeem the property back by paying all back taxes the current year, or if we're past the April 1st that year, so they'd be required to pay the 2003 taxes, and then next year, if you got past the April 1st, it would be the 2024 taxes, plus all the back taxes. All the town's costs, if it's legal, there usually is the deed and the legal ads are what's expensive. So once they pay that out, we schedule a public hearing. We actually have one that's just happened. They've paid their back taxes, and so they'll get their property back. But for the ones that decide not to, the town then sells it. There's been some law changes in the last 2 years. There was a ruckus over some properties, I think down in southern Maine, maybe along the coast, that sold and the town made a lot of money on them. So now if we sell the properties and go through all this, we have to give any excess money to the former owner who didn't pay their taxes. So that's a new law change. But generally, when the town gets these, we don't break even. We try to get the costs back, but all the time and effort that goes into them, we'll break even or lose a little bit of money. We don't make money. So that law change isn't going to affect us.
town doesn't generally get multi-million-dollar property back.
No, we had just one property that we made a lot of money on, down on Library Street, a cute little house. There was an IRS lien against it for like $80,000, so the owners walked off, and the IRS would laugh at me, but I call up every week, regularly, about can we get, is there anything that we can do? We really want to sell it. We don't want anyone to break into it. And I just hit the right gentleman at the right time, and he took the lien off, and we sold it. I don't think that would happen again now. I think
It's probably his last day. So
The concern, my concern is when someone does take ownership and purchase it, is there any teeth to make sure they get done what they're supposed to get done?
We discussed if we sell any more. We haven't sold any since we had the problem with the one on the end of Paltoma, which did eventually fix up the property. The one up on by the animal hospital did take down the building, but left all the debris there. So we're after him to fix that and finish it. What happens is people buy these with the big dreams. They're going to fix them up, and we tell them, you need to take, a builder with you and check this out and make sure. Because generally, if the town requires it, it's not in good shape. It's pretty bad. And they should be able to tell by looking at it. But from now on, if we sell any, and there probably won't be many, because usually we just get mobile homes that we have to haul out of town to the junkyard and get scrapped for. And we're going to put in requirements and sign the paper to go to the registry of deeds.
Yeah, but it's a condition of the sale, and they have to fix it up to a certain
We've
extent.
had that before, but it hasn't been recorded anyplace, and there's no
So it's not
penalties.
validated, yeah.
They just did it because everyone did it until the last couple of years, and then they didn't do what they're supposed to.
What about money being held in escrow or something like that?
Well, that might be an option.
Because if they can't, the way I see it, if they can't write the check, they probably shouldn't be buying the place, right? And I don't know what kind of money you're talking about for an escrow, but just to make sure it gets done.
Yeah,
And this has been going on for like in Peltoma, how many years?
Yeah,
Been going on Grove Hill.
Yeah, those two, there's another one. Fortunately, all these years, we've had no issues, but now we know this is going to be a problem. Everything seems to be a problem now. The
Yeah,
world has changed.
that could be fixed. I mean, if you have to escrow money or something, if they can't do it, they probably shouldn't be purchasing the property. You know,
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. We do plan to have an agreement signed instead of just their letter that we accept,
Right.
with some teeth in it, penalties, and maybe the escrow is a good idea too.
Mm.
Yes.
Does that go through the town council, or does that just go through the administration?
From town council.
It does,
Yes, it's
they
a
do.
public hearing on selling the property. The deed gets recorded at the registry. It's quite a process. It's a two-step process. And that's after it's sold back to the people. Generally, the people buy it back because they have the first right of redemption, but in the few cases that they don't, it goes through a formal bid. The bid is put together, the council approves it, it's put in the newspaper twice. The prior owners get another chance, they can compete for it again if they want to, along with everyone else, after the first redemption period is over with. And then we get the bids, open them up, they're all sealed, and then the high bidder with their project is usually proposed, unless it's a tie or close in the amount of money, and there's a better proposal from bidder two. So yes, it's quite a process.
so the people in Grove Hill haven't said anything when we clean that up?
No, they took they started out wonderfully, and we offered them the town's container to haul things off, which we've done with others that have a lot of debris. And then all of a sudden they worked like the devil and started working, cleaning it out. Then they took it down because we got after them about how the windows were all out and the people and kids were going in there. And then there's nothing. So that's on the list for the code enforcement officer, but he's been working on it. 5 other ones, but that one's on the next list. It's a nice location. If
Right,
someone-
yeah, I figured you'd probably go there, I would assume. It's a nice one.
Code enforcement officer is still working on a problem on Web Road.
He's working Friday afternoons. He thinks he's going to have a couple more hours, 2 weeks a month, which is good. Applications are not coming in. I think that Al said there were 28 code enforcement officer vacancies in the state of Maine. He keeps track of all this stuff. We're fortunate we have him. We covered 6 towns, including us. When he retires, we're all in big trouble. We need to get together to talk about, we would have like a regional code enforcement officer.
And he wants to retire, doesn't he? I think he's going to retire.
He wants to, but
Right.
he got some energy recently and said he might not, but I think he will be retiring within a year.
Any other discussion items? I'll ask for motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor? Don't forget our signatures.
Thank you, everybody.
I usually have one, and
That was supposed.
That's the old one, this is the new one, but,
this side here, I'll try it again.
yeah, or we could just, I would just sign the big one, and then we can have your sister-in-law.
Thank you.
Make